All right, it's 10 o'clock hour across the Delaware Valley, and it's always time for the sit down. And our next guest is the greatest. We love him, and it's a perfect day after last night to talk to the great Larry Bowa. Good morning, Bo.
What's up, Ant? Everything's good. Everything's real good.
You know what's funny? I was watching Stott grind it out, right? And just the way he grinds it out. And he's got the Bowa DNA, man. I was talking about it. I love players. You ruined generations of Philadelphia sports fans because we all fell in love with the Bowa DNA.
That's a compliment. I mean, I was always taught play the game as hard as you can, 9 innings, 27 outs. And I'm getting really excited watching this team this year because there's no quit at all. I mean, I watched the last game in Miami. We're down 6-3. We come back and tied, even though we did lose that game. Last night, the odds were against us going into the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. Come back, not only tie the game, but win the game. But I think, not only do we have a strong lineup, I think you got to give our bench, our complimentary guys. I mean, Sosa and Pache, Clemens came up with a big hit last night. We have so much depth sitting on the bench there. I just think that those guys would love to be playing every day somewhere, but they're very happy because they're an extra guy on the Phillies team. And you can't win a pennant without having those guys come in. I mean, right now, JT's down, Schwarb's down. Hopefully nothing serious. They'll get back into the lineup again. But I love our depth. I love our lineup. And the Mets found a way to lose like they normally do against us. We've been tough against that team. And hopefully we can, Nola has his A1 stuff today, get out of there with a 2-game sweep. And then we come home and play them again, Wednesday and Thursday. So I like where we're at. I like the attitude. I like the never quit. It's just a different vibe this year. These guys starting from spring training, you could just feel it in the clubhouse. They felt there was some unfinished business last year, and they're going about it the right way right now.
It's funny. Last week I was talking to Buster Olney, and we were talking about the Phillies clubhouse and how this clubhouse is really inclusive, right? It's got a really kind of winning vibe, like a good baseball inclusive, like where they try to get everybody, to come out of the shell. If you're new and you just come up and you're play a role. And I think to your point about those, complimentary players, those bench players, having veterans like Harper and Schwarber and those guys really include everybody, I think that kind of makes it. I think it makes for your bench to contribute.
Oh, there's no question about it. And in all fairness, Thompson's done a great job in getting those guys in the game. A lot of managers let those guys sit down on the bench for 10 days, 12 days. And then when they get in there, they're a little rusty. But Thompson has a way of giving guys rest at certain times. And they feel like they're part of the ball club. I mean, I'm watching Sosa play shortstop. He's played unbelievable. Do we miss Turner? No question about it. Turner's one of the great players in the National League. But for us to overcome a couple injuries right now and still play the way we're playing, and I know that the vibe I keep hearing from people, oh, you haven't played real good teams. You know what? You're supposed to take care of business. When you play lesser teams, when they come into play, whether it's here at Citizens Bank or on the road, we're doing what we're supposed to do. I know the second half of our schedule of the season is a tougher schedule, but right now we're doing what we have to do. And I just, people don't understand how important chemistry is in a clubhouse, especially when you play 162 games. In football, you play once a week, basketball, maybe 2 or 3 times, hockey, the same. But when you play every single day from February all the way till October, you better have a good vibe in that clubhouse. And as you said, our veteran players welcome all these guys that get called up. There's no egos on that team. And everybody's contributed. I like the fact that we've won some games here, not with our big guys. We know Harp's going to hit. That's just a matter of time. Schwarb's going to do his thing. JT's having a good year. Now Stott's starting to pick it up right now. Pache, every time he gets in there, does something special. Bohm's had an unbelievable year up till now. I could go right through that whole lineup. It's a deep lineup. I wouldn't want to pitch against this team. They're very deep and top to bottom. I'll put them up with anybody right now.
It's interesting. It made me think about this. We were talking about the clubhouse, and it reminded me, and you were there, it reminded me of Torrey's clubhouse. If you go to the late 90s and the Yankees had all that success and they were getting contributions from everybody, it wasn't just about Jeter or Mariano at all. They had a culture, and Torrey had that culture. I remember I covered them, and it kind of reminds me of kind of that. You were there. I mean,
Right.
do you see the similarities too?
Yeah, I do, and I think the manager has a lot to do that with that. I really do. Tom's. Everyone thinks, oh, well, he's a player's manager. I've seen Tom's when he has to get a little bit angry. He does it in his own way, one on one, in his office. He'll let guys know, hey, that wasn't a good play, or we can't do that in that situation. But he comes across as he's a very gentle guy. He is, to the most part. But if he has to drop the hammer, he will. But I think the manager and the coaching staff have got to get a little bit of credit here because they're the ones that keep that atmosphere in that clubhouse real loose. Yet, when the umpire says play ball, these guys are ready to go every single day. I think the last 14 games, if I'm not mistaken, all 14 have had different time starts. That's tough, man. You start playing baseball, you get into a routine. You say, okay, we play at 6:40, we play at 6. These are different time starts, and for these guys to do what they're doing, I think it's been incredible.
So, I looked at last night. One of the at bats that really stood out to me was Merrifield because he's been scuffling, right?
Right.
And he's able to work the count to 3-2, then gets the walk. And that sets the stage for Bohm and to get hit to tie the game. I thought that was a key moment. And, when you get a guy that's going bad, he's hacking away usually and stuff like that. And he had a lot of plate discipline there.
Well, you know what? He's been around. He knows how to play the game of baseball. We did catch a break. There's no question. They showed the replay. He swung on that one pitch, but he sold it to the umpire. He took his gloves off and ran down to first. But, when you're going good, things like that happen.
Yep.
I mean, we could look back at that Miami game. That ball that went off Soto, that's a double play ball. It hits off his rear end and it goes into right field. So we didn't catch a break there, but we caught a break last night. And to catch a break like that and take advantage, that's a whole different issue there. We took advantage of it. And think about the inning. I mean, Clemens starts it off with after Stott hit the home run, he gets a big base hit. This guy has done a good job ever since he's been called up. These guys that don't play every day, they never complain about playing time. They know what their role is. They're ready to play when Tom says, hey, and Tom usually gives them a heads up, hey, you're playing tomorrow or you're not playing tomorrow, which I think the communication factor there is unbelievable. So all the signs right now are pointing straight up. I really like the vibe right now I'm getting, and hopefully we can continue this because I know the second half we're playing some teams that are better than the ones we've been playing. But if we continue to do what we're doing, our pitching's been off the charts. I mean, I watched Sanchez last night. He had trouble the first 3 innings locating. All of a sudden, he kicks it in. This is a young kid. And he could have very easily folded up shop and said, oh, I don't have it tonight. He battled. He kept us in the game. And then we went to our bullpen, and the rest of it's history.
So when you look at, speaking of the pitching, you talked about this, about Ranger. When you and I were on early, I think it was the day that the season opener, and you brought up Ranger, full spring training, right? No issues, health, visa, none of that stuff. And I look at him, and he's just dealing. I mean, is this who he is? We've been having that debate. Yeah.
It is who he is. I've watched this guy pitch in the minor leagues before he got called up. He just had some nagging injuries, nothing real serious, but they're nagging injuries. And when you're a pitcher and you go out there every fifth day, if something bothers you, you might change your delivery a little bit. The release point's different. He's healthy right now. Hopefully he can continue to stay healthy. He's as good as anybody right now. When he gets the ball, I'll take him, Wheeler, and Nola. And you can throw Sanchez and Walker in there. I'll throw them against anybody. But Ranger's on another planet right now. His command is off the charts. He never panics. I don't care. Bases loaded, no outs. You look at him, he's got ice water in his veins. He knows how to pitch. He keeps the hitters off balance. He's got a cutter. He's got a sinker. He's got a changeup and a curveball, and he commands every single one of them. He just doesn't throw strikes. He throws quality strikes.
And then you other guys, I'm fascinated. He pitched last night, pitched well. Kirkering, with his stuff, I mean, his stuff's ridiculous. So, how do you deploy a guy like him?
Well, I think what they're doing a good job. They're not putting him into, when I say high leverage, I'm talking about closing a game. He hasn't done that yet. He did it all through the minor leagues. Eventually, he's going to be a closer here. This guy's got great stuff. He's got closer stuff. But he's another guy, never pitched. He's got a great slider, way above average fastball. He throws strikes. If you look at last year, he really never pitched back-to-back days in the minor leagues, and I think that hurt him. But we were obviously in the minor leagues. We take care of the pitchers. We don't want anybody getting hurt. And now finally he's getting his feet in the ground here right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tom's used him back-to-back days. He's still very young. You don't want to hurt an arm like that. And that's the one thing I think we have done as an organization. We've taken care of guys in the bullpen. You see all these injuries in baseball with pitchers, and we've been very cautious with these guys, and so far it's paid off.
So let's talk around sometimes we look at things through a vacuum. Let's look around MLB for a second and look at the Dodgers because it could be another collision course. So last night, Yamamoto goes, and I'm watching, they start the game off, bets his home run. And when you look at a kid like Yamamoto coming over from Japan with that kind of stuff, what's the trajectory? Because it's always the second time around, right? Like once you get a little bit of a book on him, you kind of understand him, you kind of know what he throws. What do you see in there?
He has a high ceiling, Anthony. There's no question about that. He's got great stuff. I do think this, though. I've been watching this guy pitch because, when I get home, I watch the West Coast games. I think he throws too many strikes. And if he pitches against a team like us, he's around the plate on everything. And our guys, I think, will take advantage of that. He can do that to a young team, but I don't think you can throw that many strikes to an older veteran team because these guys are going to put the barrel to the ball. I like Yamamoto. He's going to be a great pitcher in the National League. But I'm anxious to see how he pitches against our team because I've been watching him. He very seldom wastes pitches. He goes right at guys. And you better be careful going at our guys because they'll barrel it up. And you go 1 through 9. We got some guys that you throw it in that strike zone too much, they're going to do some damage.
Yeah, and you saw last night the Giants. I mean, the one mistake early was, again, he was around the plate. Like, that's interesting because we always think about guys and you want them – strike one, strike two, but you got to be careful once you get ahead of the count about having a plan.
Yeah, you can expand the zone. I don't care how good a hitter you are. You get 1-2 or 0-2, you're in the hole right there. You got a battle. But I've noticed him. He doesn't waste a lot of pitches. He comes right at you. And, again, he's got great stuff. I'm not going to take that away from him. And if he's on a particular night, he could probably dominate a lineup. But I'm anxious to see how he pitches against our ball club.
Yeah. The other big story of the weekend was Skenes. Paul Skenes for the Pirates makes his debut. What'd you think? I mean, pretty filthy, right?
That was electric. I knew he had good stuff, but I was flipping back and forth because the Philly game was on. And when we hit, I go watch us hit, and then I turn it over. This guy's stuff is electric. I mean, he's the real deal. And I know they're going to take care of him as far as how many pitches he's going to throw in a game. But he's a young kid, power arm, power slider, power breaking ball, above average fastball. Threw in the hundreds. I think he threw 16 or 17 pitches above 100 miles an hour. And usually you get that out of relievers. This guy was out there dealing. And they got a good young ball club. They're still a ways away, I think, to compete in the – although the Central Division is one of those divisions not real strong. But you get him on the mound every fifth day, man, he's going to make some noise out there.
I want to see the Pirates get good just for the sport, right? Like, go back to your days when you're battling the Buccos, the We Are Family, and Stargell and Parker and Candelaria, and like the Pirates mattered.
Oh, you know what? I was talking to somebody about that the last time when we played the Pirates at home. They said, what was it like playing against them? I said, every time we played them, there was a bench clearing brawl. It doesn't matter where we played. at Three Rivers or at the Vet. It doesn't matter. That's how competitive those two teams were. We respected each other, but it was a dogfight, man, every single time. And somebody'd be getting drilled, and then we'd retaliate or they'd retaliate. And you talk about intensity. People always talk about the Dodgers and the Giants and the Cubs and the Cardinals and the Yankees and Red Sox. Back in the day, that rivalry between us and Pittsburgh was real. I mean, it was game on every time we played them.
Yeah, it was. I like those Sundays when it was Lefty against the Candy Man. I mean,
Right?
that was like, wow, that was must see TV.
Yeah, you could play the under in those games. There wasn't a lot of scoring when those two guys got on the mound. Believe me.
And they had I've never who was Richie Hebner and Bill
Bill Madlock.
Madlock. I mean,
Yep.
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 Wow, like just
Parker,
oof.
Stargell, Sanguillen. I mean, you go. They had a nasty lineup. There's no question. Omar Moreno played center, who could cover
Yeah.
everything. Bill Robinson was on that team too. He was like a platoon type player for them. He was with us too, but when he went over to Pittsburgh, and he did a lot of damage. So there was Phil Garner played second.
Yeah.
Tim Foley.
Scrap
I mean, they had some good players.
Yeah, that was some good baseball. There's certain franchises that I always think is good for it's healthy for the sport if they
Right.
kind of get good, right? Like you look at MLB, and that's why I was excited. First of all, it's baseball, right? So you always look forward to the phenom. I don't know what it is, but like you're always looking forward to. So when Skenes was making his debut, you kept waiting for him to call up. I was actually checking the weather. I'm like, man, I hope he gets the game in, right? I just want to watch him pitch.
You know what? I don't really get that excited like I was that day, but I wanted to see this. I saw him in LSU. I watched the College World
Yeah.
Series, and I'm saying, oh, he dominated, but these are college kids. Then I'm watching him in the minor leagues, and he's striking out 8 or 9 guys in 5 innings, and I'm saying, I got to look at this guy because I saw his stuff in college, and I went, that's got a chance of playing no matter where he pitches. And he lived up to the hype, believe me. He was dealing out there, but he's got a great career barring any injuries.
Yeah.
But I'm like you. I think a team like the Pirates, they've been in the doldrums for so long. You want to see them start to get respectability back, and they have a good young ball club right now. They're getting some good arms coming up through the system, which they should because they've had high picks because they have come in last place or second to the last place. So it sort of equals out. And again, I'd like to see them be competitive, not against us, but against the Central. There's no question about that. And I think the arrow's pointing up for them. I'm not saying they're going to win this year
Right.
or get in the playoffs, but they've made great strides in becoming a better ball club.
All right, so I got to bring this up to you last thing, and I need your advice. All right, I've been bringing it up to all of our guests, so I'm in little hot water. So my Massimo is a travel 11U baseball player, right? And he's also in the band, all right? He plays the trumpet. And tonight is the spring concert for the band. He also has a Little League game tonight, and he'll probably pitch. So, of course, I said he's got to go play baseball. And my wife kind of got mad. Was like, well, he made the commitment, and she has to deal with the music teacher. The music teacher dressed us down, man, right? Like, she's not happy with the Garganos. Now, my wife took the brunt of it. So now I'm like, listen, baseball. The kid's got to play baseball. So what does Uncle Bo say?
Wow, that's a tough. How old's your boy?
11.
Ooh, wow, man, that's tough. Little League's going to be there. It's going to be there. I don't want to go against you, but the chance for him to do the band thing, I got to say, you got to sacrifice one game and let him do his thing in the band. Personally, if it was my kid, I'd say, no, get out. But I'm a little bit older now. I've seen some things happen. I think you got to let your boy play in the band, miss one game, and then kick it back in. I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but if it
I was all
my son,
excited. I was going to tell the music, listen, but Uncle Larry said he's got to play baseball, man.
Well, deep down, I want him to play baseball. But this probably might be a once-in-a-lifetime thing in the band. We don't know if he's going to continue in the band, but he's definitely going to play baseball. So I'd sacrifice one game, man.
All right.
I know I'm in the doghouse with
I was all excited. He's got the itch because 2 weekends ago we were in a tournament and he went yard back to back, his first 2 home runs.
Wow.
So he's got the itch like every day. Daddy, pitch to me, Daddy. So asking him right now, like he wants to grind it out.
Did you ask him, hey, what do you want to do? Or did he say, I want to play baseball? I mean, play the game.
What do you think? Yeah.
I still wants to play baseball.
Yeah.
But is he letting everybody down if he doesn't play in the band?
I don't know. I mean, kind of. I mean,
It sounds like a stud on the baseball team. If he hit 2 bombs already last game, he might be the man on the baseball team.
Well, that's another. That's it. All those kids are good. So that's the other thing. But
Right.
I hear you, brother. You're the greatest. Thanks, Uncle Bo.
All right, Andy, you take care. And I got the Phils winning this game today.
Yes.
6-2.
6-2.
Yeah,
Bowa Thomas. Bowa Thomas.
I'm going to throw a number out there, 6-2.
All right. I love it.
All right.
You're the
Take
greatest.
care.
Love you,
All
buddy.
right.
The great Larry Bowa.
We all silly like the mayor.